whomsoever is planning for any paid sessions, please don't take me in the wrong way. Don't waste your money. These sessions you will not, like, some services were there, even those services you will not get in paid sessions. Hi guys, good morning everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sai Kiran. Today we are going to start a new series called Docker plus Kubernetes. Actually, I decided to start DevSecOps after completion of our Mastering AWS session, but many people asked me to start Kubernetes. So if you jump onto the Kubernetes directly, you will not be understanding anything. So that is the reason why I have added Docker in front of it. And after that, we are going to learn Kubernetes. And if anyone is watching this video for the very first time, I request you to watch Mastering AWS first. My videos and my services explanations were quite different comparatively to others. I can confidently tell you this, because if you watch some videos, I have explained each and every project on single services, not an end-to-end project. The reason why I haven't did any end-to-end project is, see, your knowledge will be limited end of the day if you keep on doing end-to-end projects. So I have explained somewhere around 39 services. In my experience, I did more than 39 activities on AWS individually. So I decided to do each and every project on individual services. So if you do have any time, first cover this AWS playlist and then jump onto the Docker playlist. So in Docker, we are going to discuss about the virtual machines, containers, not on single day. This is a quite a large topic. I'll just zoom out. I wish you can see it. So this is quite big topic. So I'm going to cover 3 or 4 topics per day. So starting from what is container, which is virtual machines, and then what is containers, and then Docker networkings, which were very important. We also will be learning some custom networks here, uh, and then architecture and namespaces, and these were also very important, namespaces and containers. And we'll be learning some basic Docker commands, some not only basics, some basics to advanced Docker commands, right? And also we'll be understanding the networking options, like we do have bridge network, host network, and none network. None will be used better during the time of bind modes. Bridge network, it's by default it is, and then we can also create some custom networks. And we also do have host network options. And we are going to discuss something about Docker changing default location. Actually, if you keep storing or if you keep running your Docker containers on the default application, end of the day the root volume will be increased. So to avoid that, we are going to create separate volumes. So this is something called Docker directory change. And we are also going to discuss about volumes and bind modes and Docker file. Actually, this will take two parts, part one and part two. So we are going to see each and everything practically. Inside the Docker file, we do have some commands, right? Add, copy from, and everything. So we are going to see each and everything practically. And we are going to discuss about Docker system prone for deleting dangling images. Dangling images are again none, like, where it were unused, or the container which is not running for the very long time. So all those images will comes under none images. Actually, developers keep on building the images continuously. So what will happen is, in the backend, the image will be overwritten and all the previous images will be becoming none. So in such cases, what will happen is, images will consume a lot of space. So we are going to delete it with the help of system prone. And then we are going to discuss about Docker multi-stage. Actually, before multi-stage, we do have something called Google distro-less images. Google distro-less images are quite lightweight in nature, guys. Actually, those images doesn't have any shell. You, not only you, one cannot able to log in inside to that container, but still there are some, like, volumes and all. We can still manage those containers with such volumes. Actually, these were Google images were lightweight in nature. These are called as distroless images, actually, right? So if you wanted to do any custom changes, it's not possible in the Google distroless images. So for that reason, we are going to build something called multi-stage build, where you'll be saying the image very small size. Just for spinning up, it will spin up very fast and safe and secure. It's not going to take unnecessary dependencies. It's going to take only the necessary dependencies. And we'll also see how to push images to the Docker Hub, how to push images to the ECR, which is private repository. People who already know this, it's really appreciated. But like, if I am starting this session, so I have to explain each and everything right from the basics, right? Everyone should be understanding how to push the images, and also show you how to tag. If you wanted to tag any image, and if you wanted to push in your repository, I'm also going to show how to do it. right? So this is entire syllabus. Actually, we are also going to discuss about the Docker Compose, and the major thing I forgot to tell you, we can also still go and run Docker init in the Docker Hub, Docker Desktop. But the problem is, see, it's going to generate the Docker files, but still we should be able to understand what is there inside, right? So CMD, copy, entry point, what were all this? So for that reason, I decided to spend much time on explaining the Docker files, because in real time, as far as I believe, till now I've never seen my developers running Docker in it. Instead, they are going to build each and everything from the scratch itself only. Got it. And we are also going to discuss about the Docker Swarm. Actually, I decided to ignore Docker Swarm because Docker was also stopped the development of Docker Swarm, but they are still running on the latest versions instead of the previous versions. So first, you need to understand what are the disadvantages of the Docker Swarm, because Docker Swarm is also in container orchestration. So you should be able to understand the disadvantage of the Docker Swarm, and then if you start learning Kubernetes, then it would be very easy for you to understand. Everyone will be comparing what are the advantages and disadvantages of the Docker, and then why they moved to the Kubernetes. But as far as I believe, the actual question should be from why not Docker Swarm and why Kubernetes. That's the actual question as far as I believe, because Docker Swarm is also a container orchestrator, as I said before. So there are many disadvantages in Docker Swarm where you can achieve in Kubernetes, right? So we are going to discuss all those things. Once the entire part is done, then I'm going to create a separate schedule for the Kubernetes part. So these are the topics we are going to cover in Kubernetes. I have not merged this Docker and Kubernetes at the same place just to avoid the confusion for the people who are watching for the very first time. People who know this terminology, it's okay, but people who doesn't know this terminology, so it will be tough for them to catch what is what and where are the things. So once after the completion of the Docker, then I'll create a separate GitHub repository for the Kubernetes. But for now, we do not have any kind of GitHub repositories for Kubernetes. I'm going to create one in future once after completing the Docker. And guys, whomsoever is watching this video for the very first time, if you believe that if I'm saying real time and if I'm not showing the real time, then please don't take me in a wrong way. You are 100% wrong. If you watch all my services carefully, and I also do post some, I also did post some posts on my LinkedIn where many people have pinged me and they told me that your course is bit advanced and up to the solution architect level. You can go and check out the proofs on my LinkedIn page. See each and every, some people will be discussing only about the VPCs, but I have discussed about VPC peering, VPC flow log, VPC endpoints also. Just like that, each and every service does have its own, what should I say, its own activity, its own project. I didn't do any end-to-end projects because, as I said before, end-to-end projects will limit your thinking capability. Imagine if you're going to the floor tomorrow as a DevOps engineer or SRE or something. Let's say your Scrum manager is giving you a task, and do you come back and think about this end-to-end project? Then no, obviously you're not going to get the answer, because end-to-end project is strictly following the particular rules to avoid the end-to-end task, correct? But when it comes to the individual projects on individual services, then it will be very easy for you to think how to achieve the task in multiple ways. So that's what my mastering AWS talks about. So I hope you understand each and everything whatever I discussed. So we'll see everyone in mastering Docker session. And whomsoever is watching this session for the very first time, I request you to first watch mastering AWS, because you should learn at least one cloud, and then come back to the Docker, and then we can learn Kubernetes. So once after completing all these, then I'm going to start DevSecOps. Whomsoever is planning for any paid sessions, please don't take me in the wrong way. Don't waste your money. These sessions you will not, like, some services were there, even those services you will not get in paid sessions. You can go and watch my compare my syllabus with whomsoever you're paying for, and you can, and then you can come back to my YouTube and subscribe, and you can watch it. And my only request is, if anyone is in need to learn this AWS, Docker, and Kubernetes, please tell them a note that we are starting a new series. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the Docker and Kubernetes session. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.